Here today, we are going to be reacting to a similar YouTuber that has been going popular for a while, yo, and he goes by the name of His Story. Get like history. Anyways, all the clips we're about to watch is made by him. I haven't done like a reaction video in a while, but I guess I'm gonna do a reaction video. Let's start with the popular videos, and then as we go on, let's see what happens. First video, let's go.
My were 9 when we learned Morse code. We tapped messages under the dinner table when Mom told us to stop talking and tapped through the wall between our bedrooms every night.
Man, if I was able to learn like some Morse code and my mom said, "Hey, stop it." Hey, no, I am not stopping. Let me listen to some Morse code for once.
Every night. When Chris got into a car accident and the doctor said he'd never wake up, I pulled up a chair next to his bed, took his hand, and tapped. Are you there?
Not gonna lie, that's actually sad.
There? Nothing. But I came back the next afternoon and tapped again. Before I left, I always said the same thing. See you tomorrow, Chris. A week later, Chris's fingers twitched against mine, and I almost fell out of my chair. I grabbed a nurse, and she barely looked up. They're reflexes. It doesn't mean anything.
The fucking mean the reflexes. They don't mean anything. Like, bro, tell me, oh, if the reflexes, they don't mean anything. I do not care, bro. Oh, my friend or not, bro, you are checking him out whether you like it or not, and you pull the plug on him. I'm gonna pull that plug up your ass. Just kidding. It's a joke.
Mean anything. I bought a notebook the next day and started writing down every single one. 4 months in, Mom watched me scribbling and said, "How long are you gonna keep doing this?"
And how long are you gonna keep yapping your ass off?
Until he taps back. He's not gonna tap back. You're talking to a corpse.
How am I talking to his corpse if his fingers is moving? Yeah, bro. Use your brain. Use your brain, dummies. Use your brain. Like, gee.
Dad lasted a few more months before he pulled me into the hallway. We need to talk about donating your brother's organs. His fingers move every time I hold his hand, Dad. The nurses said those are reflexes. Stop getting your hopes up, son.
Stop getting your hopes up. Man, fuck you too. So I don't care about you. So I don't even care. Talk about some, oh, the nurse says there's some reflexes and everything may say his organs. What the f is wrong with you? You're telling me you're gonna let your own son, who's still stable, go in a coma and sell his organs? Nah,
I don't care what the nurses say. You're not donating my brother's organs.
But a week later. Exactly. Like, you are not donating those organs, bro.
But a week later, my parents called to have Chris transferred to a long-term facility to die and scheduled a meeting to sign the papers. The afternoon before the meeting, I tapped into his palm like always, but this time, something tapped back. Short, short, short. Long, long, long. Short, short, short. SOS. I grabbed his hand. Chris, if that's you, squeeze once. He squeezed so hard my knuckles cracked. I stormed into the meeting room and told them my brother just responded to me. The caseworker said, "This is very common with families who aren't ready to let go."
Who aren't ready to let go? Shut the fuck up, bro. I don't care what you say, bro.
My parents nodded. I grabbed the transfer papers off the table. "You're not signing anything until you come see for yourself." I walked them to Chris's bed and grabbed his hand. "Ask him anything." The caseworker asked what year it was. Chris squeezed out the answer. Count to 5. 5 perfect squeezes. His mother's name, tapped out letter by letter. By the 10th question, she said, "He's still alive. We can't move him." Weeks later, I asked Chris what kept him fighting when everyone gave up. Heard Mom call me a corpse. Heard Dad say donate my organs. Heard all of them leave, except you. I asked why. I wanted to see you too.
W, bro. Let's just check the comments. Reminder, this video is from 2 or 3 months ago. Oh, parents, bro. Exactly! Bad parents gave up too easily. See, exactly. It's the same, bro. Like, bro. His parents don't even sound like they care about his brother. Sad. Yo, imagine this actually happened to my little brother, and ended up with the same thing too. And they're about to do the same thing. Nah, bro, you are not pointing him out, bro. What are you on about?
The flight attendant slipped me a napkin that said, "The pilot isn't who he says he is. Meet me in the back to talk."
Kinda suspicious, don't you think? Yeah, let's just continue the video. Anyways, forgot to say video 2.
Talk. I knew she chose to tell me because of the military dog tags around my neck. I folded the napkin and slid it into my pocket, and that's when the captain's voice came over the intercom. "Good morning, folks. This is Captain Hopkins."
You sure, bro?
Expecting smooth skies to Chicago, but
Something was wrong.
something was wrong. I could feel it in my bones. I waited 2 minutes and casually walked to the back, not knowing what to expect. The flight attendant was there with a man holding up a police badge. The man whispered, "I'm glad you're here. I'm an undercover cop."
Wait, what? Yo!
I knew something was wrong straight away, the flight attendant whispered. "I've flown with Captain Hopkins for 6 years. I don't exactly know what's wrong, but I know that's not Hopkins, and we're flying the wrong way." She showed me the flight map of where we were heading. The plane is heading toward an abandoned
No.
airport. I leaned over the map. My body was pumping with adrenaline because it was the perfect place to crash a plane. There's an empty space above the pilot's room. I can climb up and listen to what the pilot and co-pilot are planning through the ceiling. Take my number. If you can tell there's something fishy going on, text me one word. Now. That's the signal to move. And to distract everyone while I climbed above the ceiling, the flight attendant made an announcement on the speakers to tell everyone to keep their seatbelts on. Through the cracks, I could hear 2 men in the pilot's room talking. 15 years ago today, our brother died because of Captain Hopkins. Now we get to crash his plane with him tied up on it while we impersonate him. I texted the undercover cop. Now, the cart slammed into the pilot's room door, and the cop kicked it open. I dropped through the ceiling and tackled the fake pilot out of his seat. The cop pinned the co-pilot to the floor. The flight attendant grabbed the radio. "Mayday, our pilot is gone. We need help landing right now." She looked at me. "Find Hopkins, the actual pilot. He has to be on this plane somewhere." I sprinted to the back of the plane, checking every door. I yanked open the closet next to the bathrooms, and Captain Hopkins was inside with his hands tied and tape across his mouth. I ripped the tape off. "Get me to the controls." He ran to the front and dropped into the pilot's chair. He grabbed the wheel. "Tower, this is the real Captain Hopkins. I'm landing this plane." When we finally landed, the cops dragged the brothers off in handcuffs. The flight attendant came up to me in the aisle. I pulled the napkin out of my pocket and held it up. "You saved 200 lives with this." She smiled and took it back. The flight attendant
Alright, we're just gonna do 2 more videos and that's it for today.
flipped me a napkin that's Every time we heard a knock on the front door, my dad would yell, "Stealth mode," and we had 30 seconds to kill every light in the house. My brother and I would race through the rooms, flipping switches, yanking cords, shutting off the TV mid-show, while some guy outside banged on the front door yelling, "I know you're in there, buddy." Dad timed us. Once everything was dark, no talking, no moving, no looking out the windows. We'd sit there until Dad did his owl hoot, which meant all clear. Sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes almost an hour. Afterwards, he'd high-five us and go, "Real ninjas couldn't do better." He told us stealth mode was top secret. Never tell your teachers, your friends, nobody. Other people wouldn't understand. For years, I believed him. When I was 8, I asked Dad why we had to hide so much. He said some annoying guy kept bothering our family, and stealth mode was how we dealt with him. I felt proud we had a secret skill that could out bad guys. By the time I was 10, I heard the voice outside yell something about a bet and $20. I tugged Dad's sleeve and whispered, "Is the bad guy trying to steal our money?" Dad shushed me so hard I flinched. When I was
Shh, bro. I will grab this miniature book I have in my hand and throw it at you, bro. No, I'm not shushing right. I'm like, like, no, bro. I'm not about to do that, bro.
was 12, I broke the window rule, peeked through the blinds, and saw a completely normal guy in a polo shirt standing on the porch rubbing his forehead. He didn't look like a criminal. He looked like someone's tired uncle. At 13, I told Dad I was just going to open the door and tell the guy to leave us alone. The color left his face. "You absolutely cannot do that." That was the First time stealth mode didn't feel like a game. By 15 or 16, it barely happened anymore. But when it did, Dad would peek through the blinds looking guilty. Mom just shook her head from the couch and muttered something under her breath. I was 17 and home alone when I heard it. I know you're in there. It's been 12 years, man. I opened the front door. The guy nearly fell backwards. Normal looking dude, middle-aged, holding a crumpled piece of paper. Oh, hi. Is your dad home? I'm his old college roommate. He held up the paper. Your old man bet me $20 Michael Jordan wouldn't win his 6th ring. That was 1998. I've been knocking on this door ever since. He handed me the IOU, both their signatures, right there at the bottom. I left it on the kitchen table. Mom saw it first and laughed so hard she had to hold the counter. Dad picked it up, read it, put it back down, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "So now he knows someone's home."
Hey, yo! That's crazy. You're telling me they were hiding from a man that his father owed $20 for, over the GOAT of basketball.
Then he turned off the kitchen. My daughter came home.
Alright, last video before we end it all.
Crying with an F because her teacher doesn't know what color blood is. The first time I realized something was wrong, Riley came home from school holding out her arm. "Look, Dad, you can see the blue blood in my veins."
Holy false allegations, bud. Kids, its blood is not blue, it's red.
Right here. She traced the blue lines under her skin with her finger. I put down my coffee and looked at her. "Actually, sweetheart, that's not true. Blood is always red because of hemoglobin. It's just darker red in your veins." Her face scrunched up, but Mrs. Miller showed us a whole PowerPoint about it. She even had
Mrs. Miller? What kind of teacher name is that?
diagrams from a science book. The next morning, I packed my work scrubs in my bag. I'm an ER nurse at Mercy General, and I was working the afternoon shift anyway. I sent Mrs. Miller an email asking if I could do a quick presentation about blood for career day that afternoon. She loved the idea. When I arrived, Mrs. Miller introduced me as Riley's dad, who works at the hospital.
W, bro.
28 kids stared up at me from their desks. "I heard you guys learned that blood is blue inside your body," I said. The entire class nodded enthusiastically. Mrs. Miller beamed from her desk in the corner. I pulled out a blood collection tube from my pocket and held it up. "This is what we use to draw blood at the hospital. Notice something. The tube creates a vacuum. No oxygen inside at all." I paused. "When we draw blood with these, it never touches oxygen until we pop the cap off." I showed them photos on my phone of sealed blood tubes. "See? Still red." Mrs. Miller's smile started fading. She shifted in her chair and cleared her throat. A boy raised his hand and pointed to their science textbook, but our textbook says it's blue. I picked up the book and checked the publication date.
1998. Oh my days.
1998. Medicine updates pretty fast. We used to think lots of things that turned out to be wrong. Mrs. Miller suddenly stood up from her desk, her hands gripping the edge. "Well, thank you for that interesting presentation, Mr. Johnson, but we need to move on to math now." I nodded and started packing when a girl in the back raised her hand. "So our textbook is wrong?" The class erupted in whispers. Mrs. Miller's jaw clenched and her voice got tight. "The curriculum says..." "Actually," I interrupted, pulling up the state science standards on my phone. I walked over and turned my phone toward her. "The current curriculum specifically mentions this myth as something to correct." She stared at the screen and her eyes narrowed. Her mouth pressed into a thin line and her nostrils flared. "Can I speak with you in the hallway?" The kids
Speak with me. Speak to these nuts.
Watched as we walked out and the door closed behind us. "Do you have any idea how hard it is when parents undermine my authority?" Her face was red and her voice was sharp. "Now they'll question everything I say." I kept my voice calm. "Isn't that exactly what we want them to do? Question things and learn critical thinking."
Exactly.
She crossed her arms tightly. "I've been teaching for 22 years.
22 years of my ass.
I'm not changing my whole curriculum because some nurse thinks he knows better than our textbooks." The next day, I found out Mrs. Miller gave the class a pop quiz. Riley came home crying, her face red and puffy. Her hands were shaking as she handed me a paper with a big red F on it. I took a deep breath and felt my jaw tighten as I looked at the question. What color is blood inside the body? Riley had written red, and Mrs. Miller had marked it wrong. I requested a meeting with Principal Davis and brought printouts of medical textbooks, the state science standards, and Riley's quiz. The principal called in Mrs. Miller and asked her directly, "Is blood blue inside the body?" After a long pause, Mrs. Miller said, "It's what the children understand better." I leaned forward in my chair. "My daughter is crying every morning before school because she's afraid of getting Fs for writing down the truth." The next day, the school replaced their science books. Now whenever Riley learns something new at school, she comes home and asks me, "Dad, is this actually true, or is it just a Mrs. Miller truth?"
Alright guys, this is all, so make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this reaction video. Anyways, Jay out. Peace. See you in the next video.